Pop-Up Crop, and we are in Portland, Oregon. The
Land
Windy
of
City.
ports. The land of ports.
Isn't it what it's the capital of... Is Portland the capital of Oregon?
It's not Washington.
Nope.
No,
Is it?
it's Salem, Oregon's the capital of Oregon. Portland's
Salem.
just the biggest city.
Okay, the biggest city.
Is this the Beaver State? Is that what it's called?
It is indeed the Beaver State.
the Beaver State?
Do we know like the official flower or anything like that?
I think it's the dandelion.
I think it is. Yeah, it's something like that. I don't actually know what the...
That's a hybrid.
I promise that I will look up this information before the next one.
All right, but anyway, we are in Portland, Oregon at Pop-Up Crop.
Thanks
It's
to
been an
Tranter
incredible... Yes, thank you, Tranter Gray, for sending us out here. If you don't know who Tranter Gray is, go check them out. They're an Emmy Award-winning...
They do that too. They do everything.
They do everything. They're Emmy Award-winning production house, and they're super awesome. So go check them out. But they sent us out here. We're doing hot seats. We are sitting down with our new friend, Cameron Sandage.
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right. Everybody, welcome Cameron to the show.
Bring the
Thank
energy.
you. Thanks for having me.
Cameron,
Thanks,
before we
dude.
jump into anything, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do.
Yeah, so originally from Portland, Oregon, but I actually live in Austin, Texas these days. I'm a digital product designer for USAA, military banking insurance, for my day job. And then at night, I run a side studio called Swing Shift Studios.
Yep.
And then I also run a nonprofit poster show called After Hours in Austin, Texas, and a bunch of other little things. So keep myself busy.
Which
Yeah.
we just learned a lot about After Hours. So I'm brand new to the area. I've only lived because you're
San
in Austin, we're in San
Antonio.
Antonio.
Yeah.
I've only lived in San Antonio for like 3 months now. So you asked, have y'all been to this place or that place? No, because I barely can find my house.
He
Still.
goes to HEB, and that's it. That's
I
pretty
go
much
to
it.
HEB, I go to Alamo Draft House, and I go home. That's the triangle that I run
That
right now.
sounds about all you need.
Occasionally a pilgrimage to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, to be fair, HEB is baller. But so you just told us a bit about After Hours. Go into a little bit more detail about what that looks like, because this is a really cool thing.
Yeah, so After Hours is going to its 4th year this year. We partner with a local nonprofit in the Austin area. We partner with about 40 artists as well. So we have a blind judging with 4 creatives that do the judging based on a 1 to 10 scale. We strip off their names, so we get college students in all the way to seasoned illustrators. We give them a theme based on the nonprofit, so we'll announce that sometime in September. And they create a screen printed or a handmade poster for it, and we sell it during East Austin studio tours.
Nice.
They do runs though, right? Or they?
Yeah, so it's a run of 40 posters total.
Okay.
40 times 40.
40 posters, 40 artists, $30 each.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's not 40 posters. You're not doing 40 copies of each poster, are
Yeah.
you?
40
you are.
copies
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay.
It's 40. Yeah, exactly.
I thought that's what I was hearing, but then I thought when he clarified that I was hearing it differently. But I heard it differently both times,
Yeah.
apparently.
I'm pretty sure that's 1,600.
Close.
Friends. So
Yeah,
you're
something
running.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of paper.
Yeah, our friends at Fine Southern Gentlemen in Austin, they actually do a lot lot of printing for us.
Okay.
They're our main partners. So,
They are
yeah,
earning their name for sure.
They do a lot of work.
I mean,
so.
holy cow.
So this is your 4th year going into it. Of the last 3, what have the standout moments been? Not necessarily pieces, but what have the standout moments been for you as being the guy who's heading this whole thing up?
Yeah, so I think the thing that I appreciate the most about the show is getting artists that have never done this kind of show before and giving them the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to do Art Crank when I was in Portland for my first show and kind of like saw that process and what it was like. So now giving that ability to artists now, and a lot of artists have actually, there's one in particular that has used the show as a platform to actually launch his freelance career. So he used After Hours, I think it was year 2, to create a new style and test it out and say, hey, I want to try this out. Like, what does this look like? And he's actually done, I think, 5 or 6 murals now of that same style in
That's
Houston.
awesome.
So he's
Wow.
definitely pushing that. So like hearing those kind of stories and getting those pieces, that's what the most important part for me is. And then it's also the fact that we can give back to a local nonprofit.
Sure.
Do you use a different style paint when you're painting on buildings where it's like 105 degrees all the time?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, there's totally different kinds of paint you use for like heat treatment and weather resistant and everything. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just suddenly really intrigued. I've never thought about it.
You have to.
You got to go ask the drunk on letting girls that were just here
Yep.
on stage.
There's all sorts of different kinds of paint in colors.
So, how long did you say you've been in Austin?
I've been in Austin for 4.5 years. So we started after hours, basically 6 months after I got there.
So how would you describe the creative scene in Austin?
It's pretty good. It's very much a college town. So part of the reason why we started after hours is coming from Portland, where there's a really big creative scene. It wasn't really that there.
Yeah.
And we wanted to kind of like help bring more of a creative mind to it, but then also like I've gotten closer to AIGA Austin and work with that group. So there's definitely, it's a growing community.
Sounds like you're a connector and a mover and shaker.
I've heard those both before, yes.
So what is it about you feel like you have to live geographically anywhere that their slogan as a city is to keep things weird? Like why is it you've lived in the Portland of the South and the Austin of the Northwest? Why is it that you live in those two places?
I think that's just coincidence. It wasn't planned to live in Austin. I got a job out there and moved me out there. And yeah, I've got that question before as well. I'm like, I don't really know, but I mean, culture-wise, it makes sense.
Looking at you, though, you don't look like a weird dude, right? You look like a totally normal, like straight up.
Almost too normal, suspiciously normal.
Like suspiciously normal, like what lies beneath.
He's a narc, total narc.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems interesting because when you think, typical Austin or typical Portland, you're thinking, just just whatever. The thing is, you just look like a normal dude who would live. You look like a Boston guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually not been to Boston.
I've been to Boston, but I don't know what any of the people look like. That was the first city I could think of that didn't ever seem weird to me, I guess.
Yeah.
The way I can tell that someone fits into Portland is if they dress in such a way that I would never conceive to dress.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Black T-shirt. Oh yeah, I could totally figure that out.
I could see wearing a black T-shirt.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Lederhosen and Converse. No, that's Austin or Portland, right?
Obviously
Exactly.
from here.
Obviously
True.
on something.
But I do. So you are doing something though that I find very admirable, because we've talked a lot about on the show about what it takes to have community. Because we talk to artists that say, I wish I lived over here because my city has nothing, and that city seems like their scene is exploding and my city's dead. Nobody does anything here. And the reality is that there are probably plenty of people in that area just like you. It may be that you need to be the one to go out and just start something. You may need to be the one that just raises your hand and say, hey, come hang out over here and create that thing. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. Wherever you end up, you're going to be the person that creates that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been told from a lot of people that I like building communities.
Yeah.
And I think it's ringing true from both After Hours and some other projects that I've done, and then also moving to a new city and kind of like building something up. So I definitely think that is true of myself.
Is it possible you want to be mayor, like secretly? You want to just and rather than a life of politics, you're just going to make your own community, and then
I don't think so. Me being a mayor would not be good.
He said ask me in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not ready to announce my candidacy
Campaign
yet.
officially.
All right, we're going to play a game with you, Cameron.
right.
We are the Master of One podcast. We are all masters of our own categories. You are going to become a master for the next couple minutes, and you're going to tell us all about that category, whatever you want to say. So go ahead and draw one of these tokens, flip it over, and that's going to be your deal.
Oh, I hope you don't pick a bad one.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be really
There
bad
are
at these
whammies, by the
things.
way.
Books, yeah.
That's my
what's
version of a
up.
whammy, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. You're going to tell us something related to books. Now, it could be like last book you read. It could be a favorite book, one that pertains to what you do, a book that every designer should read. It could be your favorite film adaptation of a book. It could be
Your least favorite one.
Oh, it could be just a book that you say, this is garbage, and I'm going to tell you why it's garbage. And so
you're the master. We can't
just
argue
tell
with
us
you.
something about books.
Wow, that's a hard one. I don't actually read that much anymore.
Yeah.
So I think the last
You could
last
even
book-
tell us why you don't read books.
Yeah.
Well, so here, I'll get you to that. But I think
Okay.
a funny story for you guys is I actually started a book club
Okay.
when I was in middle school. So
That
I used to be
doesn't surprise
really
me.
into books.
Yeah.
Getting
And
building the
community.
community.
Yeah.
And I used to be like super nerd, reading lots of mostly like Harry Potter type things.
Sure.
When I was in middle school and early high school, and then I just kind of like fell out of it. A lot of the books that I read now are actually design books, but the last book I actually read cover to cover was the Cursed Child, the Harry Potter play.
Yeah.
Actually sat out on my balcony and read that about a year and a half ago.
Nice.
But I keep buying books, so I'm one of those like weird people that just like if somebody tells me to buy a book, I'm
I've
gonna
got to
buy
have
it.
that book.
Yeah.
And it sits on my bookshelf.
You want people to think you're super smart.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I do.
yeah.
It's
I'm
propping
with
up
you.
my
I
bed.
am
It's
with you.
propping up my table. It's propping open the door.
It even gets bad though that I bring books with me on trips
Yeah.
with the intent that I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
read
read
it.
this. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
reading it.
I'm right there with you.
I brought David Aries' Design for Love, Not for Money book, I believe is what it's called. I brought that on this trip. I've been in Portland for 2 weeks. I haven't cracked it at all. It's just been going from the suitcase to the
My man.
backpack. So
This resonates with me very deeply.
Honestly, if you're up for it, I would elect you as mayor. Just, your platform sounds sound to me.
So why do you think you have trouble reading books? What is it you don't like?
I think it's an attention span thing. So like a lot of when I do a lot of things. I mean, you guys probably have realized this already, but I'm constantly popping from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then I work crazy hours. So I work a full-time job, and then I go work another 5 to 6 hours. So really, like watching Netflix or watching TV shows, like that's where I kind of like just let loose.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just getting the time to actually sit down and read a book is just it's not that it's not enjoyable to me. It's just not what I want to spend my time on. But I do keep buying these books with the intent to read them. So hopefully one day.
Books are a little bit
I'll
like
read
cutting
them.
grass for me. Like when I actually start cutting grass, I feel relaxed. It clears my mind. It's somehow this like it ends up being a good thing. And
Sure.
and when I finish cutting grass, I'm like, look at me, man, I'm a big deal. Look what I just did to that grass.
True.
And when I read, but to get started. I mean, I'll put it off for weeks.
Yeah.
My wife just mowed our grass because I didn't. Literally today. But so it's like books are the same thing. Like it's so hard to get started. Once I'm actually reading it, I feel accomplishment. I feel like clear-headed. I feel like so great. But man, it's so hard to start.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so tell everybody where they can find you, where they can connect with you, where they can follow you, and maybe even be a part of some of the stuff that you're doing.
Sure. So everything's pretty easy. For personal stuff, it's all Cameron Sandage. So CameronSandage. Twitter, Instagram. You can add me on Facebook if you want. My portfolio site is also CameronSandage.com. After Hours is also pretty easy. So it's After Hours ATX.
Okay.
And that's on Instagram, Twitter, and then there's also a Facebook page for that as well. And then my side business gets a little goofy. So it's Swing Shift Studios. On Twitter, there's no I in shift.
Oh, of course.
And there's no S on studios because Twitter doesn't let you have that many characters.
Yep.
But then
So
on
it's
Instagram,
Swing Shift Studio or Studios?
Studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two S's, and so does.
Yeah, it gets complicated. But if you go to swingshiftstudios.com, you'll be able to find it all.
Yeah.
And then Instagram actually lets me do Swing Shift Studios. So
That's awesome.
that's
That's
where
great.
I'm on online.
Awesome. Man, you're doing a lot of stuff, and we're really excited to see where this goes. And just thank you for what you're doing, and keep it up, man.
Cool.
Thanks so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.